Eagles-Rams Sunday Night Football. And I know you can't see it, but there is a huge smile on my face thinking about such a intense matchup that we are about to embrace tonight. I am so excited, and I am so confident in one Quinyon Mitchell, because that's the talk of the town. That's the talk when you look at national media breaking down the X's and the O's. It's Cooper Kupp. It's Puka Nacua. It's Quinyon Mitchell. It's Cooper DeJean. And as much as I respect what the Rams have to offer offensively, what you can't do is disrespect the greatness on the other side. Quinyon Mitchell is insane. He's unbelievable. What he's been doing on a week-to-week basis is something we haven't seen before. He is a dog. He's shutting down Terry McLaurin where you can't even target him. Okay? You can't even throw the football in his direction because of how much suffocation is going on. He's swarming the other team's best receiver. So whether it's Puka Nacua, whether it's Cooper Kupp, because you can look at the way that they line up inside in the slot and what that means for others. However Sean McVay is going to dial this up with Matthew Stafford, it's irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter. I believe Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean will win us this football game. We can go through the list of Jamar Chase, Mike Evans. Do you realize how special of a talent both of those men are? They could only dial up 2 receptions against Quinyon. In 4 quarters of play, each of those unbelievable talented wide receivers could only muster up 2 catches each. Quinyon Mitchell is something outrageous. And everyone's going to see it on display when you're the only game on. It's a big game for the NFC standings, for the Rams in the NFC West, for the Eagles looking to try their very best to somehow jump over the Lions, waiting for them to maybe fall in a game that you don't expect them to. So this is a big one, common opponent. And I want my team to go out there with this killer mentality of trying to snag that 1 seed with a purpose. I want them to be obsessed with trying to catch the Lions. And with that, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are going to be the reasons why they win this game. I am extremely comfortable saying that. And my question to you, do you think the Rams have the firepower offensively to overpower our secondary's youth? 215-592-9494. Do the Rams receivers strike fear in you at all? Even if it's a little bit. If it's 10%, if it's 15%, that's some. Because I got no fear. That's how much I'm willing to commit to 2-7, okay? Q is a different animal. He is so good. He's out there doing things that you do not see in this league at that age. And I believe he's ready for the moment. I believe he's understanding of the pressure, but he doesn't feel the pressure like a normal human. He's going to stop whatever Sean McVay throws his way, because that's all I've seen since he put the cleats on in this league. Every single week. Amari Cooper, you name it. Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, whatever wide receiver is trying to run routes and bust open a big play, it's not available. And it's not going to be available in LA. And I am so excited to watch this team go out and kick ass, because that's what I expect, and that's what I know they are capable of doing. Will it be all beautiful? Probably not. I will not put that expectation out there, knowing that it hasn't been since the season began. There may be ugly moments. There may be some upsetting times. Maybe the first quarter is quiet offensively. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say so. They may start out slow. But when you watch the offensive line grind out 4 quarters, when you watch this Eagles offense wear you down in the run game, the result will be another victory, another win after the bye, and keeping this train moving. I can't wait. 215-592-9494 if you want to get in. Do the Rams receivers strike fear in you at all? Because I have the most confidence in the world. Now, I want you guys to take a listen to Dan Orlovsky of ESPN, and he broke down why he sees a potential struggle for the Eagles corners. Take a listen.
I think the Rams do the best job in the NFL when it comes to making passes easy for everybody on their offense, specifically a player like Puka Nacua. Okay, number one, here comes this motion. As a defense, you got to communicate on the fly who's got who, and you're just going to run flat and a stop route. Somehow both defenders cover the flat route, and then Robinson becomes uncovered for an easy. That's easy for an offense. See how these happen on the fly? The other part is the double motions. Puka goes in, then he goes out. You have no idea exactly where he's going to stop. Both defenders end up carrying vertically, and then there's an easy flat route. Those are 2 completions any quarterback in the NFL is going to complete, but it's 15 yards. The point is you don't know where the motions are actually going to stop. I think that's the challenge for Philly's secondary is handling all those motions when they start, where they finish, if the motion happens once, if the motion happens twice. I mean, that's the big challenge for Philly's secondary is the communication element of that and the responsibility part that goes along with it.
I'm not going to pretend like motion or any of this movement isn't possibly causing confusion for defenses. But let's not act like the Los Angeles Rams are somehow a 9-win football team that have 0 struggles. And I'm aware that having these 2 receivers back is very important, and they're playing a different brand now compared to earlier. They have 4 wins in their last 5 games. But I've seen a lot of the Rams. And what the Rams have become to me, even with all the cuteness, even with all the strategic X's and O's and pre-snap movement and all this motion, they either bring it or they have one of the most hideous games in the world and they can't put up any points. So the reason I bring that up is let's not act as if just because they have that in their bag and they have that in their tricks, that automatically equals a crazy level of success. Because this team is 500. This team has days where you wonder what the hell is going on with Matthew Stafford and that offense. That's not that same crisp team that you expect to see. They have high highs, but they have some low lows too. They're a very inconsistent bunch. So yes, they have the ability to do creative things, but it hasn't always worked out for them is number one. And number two, what's not being talked about enough in that clip for me is while the communication is large and you do have inexperienced corners in the secondary, they are different. They are different. Cooper DeJean is a beast. These are different cats. These are not your normal, your standard young secondary players. They're just not, because most people don't enter the league and have any version of the success that these two have had. Sometimes you got to realize you have an outlier. And what the Philadelphia Eagles have is a crazy outlier with these two men that are able to break games open. Let's look at Jalen Carter, for instance. He's someone in the middle of that defensive line, in the interior, that is able to wreck games. And he could blow up plays, and he could force quarterbacks to have to rush and not be able to properly progress through their progressions and all that stuff, right? The moment the ball is snapped, he can create chaos and cause a bunch of havoc, which would then set up the Eagles to succeed. Maybe an edge rusher has an opportunity to get home, whatever it is. Same applies to those kids in the secondary. Do not forget how lethal of a talent we are talking about with them. It's amazing. It truly is. 215-592-9494. I want to know, is there any fear with Cooper Kupp and Puka? And the reason why I'm throwing this out there, I was on yesterday afternoon, and we had a bunch of calls all throughout the program about this game and the matchup and what people are looking for. And something that was mentioned a few different times was it's less about the Eagles and more about just respecting the talent of Cooper Kupp. He is amazing for a reason. Or same applies to Matthew Stafford. Same applies to Sean McVay. And what I'm not doing is pretending like they're bad. They're not bad. But for me, I get it. I get that Cooper Kupp is a sensational wide receiver. I understand that there is some greatness that can be had with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford as a duo. But Vic Fangio has this defense playing at a level that is absurd. Zach Bond is one of the best linebackers in football this season. This defense is... I'm like losing words almost trying to figure out the best way to describe it. But we cannot knock this defense. This defense has the ability to match any offense that has crazy intensity, any offense that has special talent. I'm not disrespecting them. I'm not. What I'm doing is respecting Quinyon the way that I should. And you know what cracks me up about this matchup too? We keep hearing about defensive player of the year, or excuse me, the rookie of the year, right, with Quinyon, or who else could it be? Well, the Rams have someone on their defensive line that's getting talked about as well. 24 years old, verse, good player. You forget that he's facing Lane Johnson? Do you forget that he's facing this offensive line? So let me get this straight. We're going to roll out the Rams' strengths. Wide receivers and particular pieces on the defensive line. The Eagles have the ability to counter all of the strengths of the Rams because the strengths of the Birds would be secondary and O-line. So their best shot is our best shot. And I will take everything we have over what they have, especially with the way Vic Fangio, think about both coaches here on the respected side of the ball we're talking about. Vic Fangio with these kids and Jeff Stoutland with Lane Johnson, Mailata, and all these offensive line. Even if you want to look at maybe some of the interior pieces for Los Angeles, think about what Cam Jurgens did last week, throwing one man to the ground twice in the same exact play, looking very similar to Jason Kelce. Please, stop it. Stop it with this nonsense of someone else maybe being the rookie this season. I'll tell you who the rookie is. It's number 27. 215-592-9494. How do you feel about this game? How do you feel about Eagles-Rams Sunday Night Football? And specifically, the matchup that everybody's looking at, which is corners versus wide receivers. Because I feel so confident in our group, so much so that I believe Quinyon and Cooper DeJean will win us this game on the road to keep us in the hunt for this number one seed and go after the Lions, because I need to see the Lions fall in a game that's unexpected, and then here's the Eagles on the prowl. Okay? I want to be right there on their tail so the Lions know the pressure is on and we're not going anywhere. And then I'll live with the result after that. If they end up not being able to catch the Lions, then so be it. But I want this thing to go down to the wire where the Lions have to sweat it out because the Eagles are on the prowl and they won't be stopped. And I believe that can happen. I expect it to happen. And I see it happening shortly later on tonight. So let's get to some more audio here. We just heard from Dan Orlovsky. Let's keep it in the ESPN world and go to Mina Kimes, who talked about this defense and what the Rams can bring, what the Eagles can bring. Take a listen.
This is the Defensive Rookie of the Year Bowl. on one side.
Wow.
You've got Jared Verse. You guys talked about this Rams defensive line who leads all rookies in sacks. He's fifth league-wide in pressures. And on the other, you got Quinyon Mitchell, who, since the bye, has allowed 15 yards per game as the nearest defender. And what I love about this matchup, so to speak, is they are both going against the best of the best. Dan talked about it. Jared Verse is going to be tested in this one against those Eagles tackles in a way that he simply has not been. And on the flip side, Quinyon Mitchell, you're going to have to defend two of the best wide receivers in the NFL, in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. They're going to get both of them on you. It's Sean McVay, right? So I feel like we're going to come out of this with a better sense, perhaps, of where that race is going, because both of those two rookies who have been absolute studs this year are going against such difficult competition.
Oh, come on. I'll tell you where this is going. Okay? I'll tell you where this is going. This is going in the favor of Quinyon Mitchell dominating yet another matchup. I believe Cooper Kupp is a really talented player, but he's not more talented than Mike Evans. He's not more talented than Jamar Chase. He's just not. Mike Evans is elite of elite, and this dude can't sniff 3 catches. You heard the numbers. 15 yards. That's what the best in the world are getting against our young stud. Do you realize what shutting down Mike Evans is? Do you realize what shutting down Jamar Chase is? I don't know if that's fully being digested when you start laying out the ability of Cooper Kupp, the ability of Puka. Like, I'm all in. I'm all in on this. And I'm digging 2 feet in, big time. I feel that confident. I feel that comfortable. Stop playing with Quinyon and acting like just because there's some talent on the wide receivers on the other team that means anything. It hasn't meant a damn thing yet. We're what? 10 games into this puppy? It has not mattered yet. So is the argument it will eventually catch up to you? You can't have a great game every day? That's like, let's go to basketball for a second. Kobe drops 55 points in 4 straight games. The 5th day comes up and he has a bit of a bad day at the office. Is it just because naturally you can't keep up 55 points a game? Is that what it is? And that's how you're viewing Quinyon in this battle? Is at some point someone's going to get theirs? At some point someone's going to win the battle because you can't be elite forever? I guess it's technically possible. But until I see it, I'm not saying that game's popping up anytime soon. Sure, you do have a stinker. Sure, sometimes you just don't feel yourself. But I'm supposed to believe the kid who has shown up every day, the kid that hasn't had a hiccup yet, the dude who is stopping everyone in this league is going to on this stage? When the world is constantly talking about you? When it's the rookie defensive player of the year bull, as it was being mentioned? I highly doubt it. I haven't seen any signs. And think about the way this identity has changed since Cooper DeJean got out there and he was in the mix. No Avonte Maddox. The whole identity changed. The swag, the attitude, the toughness, the edge, the team playing with fire, the hard hitting, the ball hawk ability. The entire dynamic of this defense changed with Cooper DeJean as well. And while there are learning curves with young athletes, especially in this league, come on, man. You see the tape. You see the ability. I'm not playing games. I believe Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean will win us this football game. All right, to the phones we go. 215-592-9494. Let's go to Sam in Delaware. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning. How are you, Brodes?
I'm feeling great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I had to get out of the city with the marathon traffic. It was a nightmare, but we're good.
Yeah, I saw some things as I was driving in. Yeah.
Yeah. So on this game tonight, I think we're going to gut them. I think it's going to be a lot like last year's game against the Rams, and I think they had a better team last year than they do this year, even though they're going on a bit of a run of late. And I think, we'll hold them to a low score because Vic Fangio, man, week in and week out, he just takes these great offenses and shuts them out. Like New Orleans. New Orleans scored 90 points the first two games. They play Fangio's defense, and what did they score, 13, 12 points? Not a lot. So I think it's going to be a type of game like that where it gets, we just hold up the Rams, even though they got Puka and Cooper. I don't think it's going to be close.
I agree with you. I mean, I do think it's going to be close, but I agree with your overall sentiment that I have so much faith in Vic Fangio going up against this crew. And it's funny you bring that up because someone kept mentioning to me on yesterday's show the fact that you're not facing a rookie quarterback. And when you watch what happened against Washington and Dan Quinn and a rookie quarterback and McLaurin's slow day, they applied a lot of the struggles because of the quarterback just being inexperienced, and that's different from Matthew Stafford. And while there is something to be said about a veteran defensive coordinator swallowing up someone like a rookie quarterback. We see that happen all the time in this league. He can also do it against vets. It's not as if it only applies to rookie QBs. He could do that against a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, especially when you have the personnel that he's able to work with. Zach Bond, Quinyon, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter. He's got the personnel to do it here. And if he's got the personnel, I think there's going to be a plan to execute.
Exactly. I also think on the offensive side of the ball, I think we're going to get a pass-heavy game, and I think it's actually going to work out for us. That secondary the Rams have is definitely a weak point, so I expect a big A.J. game, a big Jalen game through the air.
All right.
He's been a pretty good passer, so I think we'll be okay. If I have to give a prediction, I don't normally do predictions. Let's say 27-14. I think we'll flub a 2-point conversion that we shouldn't have.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it. Yeah, of course. There's going to be some version of that going on, a fourth down that he should have kicked the field goal and whatever. We'll see how it all plays out from the Nick Sirianni front. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. See, as confident as I am, and I am definitely extremely confident in this matchup, I know how Eagles football goes this year. It goes a little something like this. I hate them. I hate them. This is ugly. This is hideous. I want to stab my eyes out. This is gross. This is disgusting. Wow, they won. It goes a little something like that, where you can see sort of the tables turn with maybe 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Maybe I'll slip a different feeling in there at some point. It's ugly. It's gross. It's hideous. I hate them. I hate them. Hold on a second. I think we're figuring something out. Keep running the ball. Here's Saquon. Offensive line. We win. So it's not going to be pretty. It's probably not going to be a blowout. It'll be something along the lines of the defense holds the Rams off the board, or maybe they force the Rams to kick field goals if the Rams do move into the red zone. Little bend, don't break, if you will. And then after that, after the Eagles' offense stinks for a quarter and a half, they run the rock, and then the rest is history. Some version of that. That's what they do. So it's not going to be a blowout. It's not going to be a comfortable win. It's going to be greasy because they've all been greasy. But I still have so much faith in the defense and their ability. And that's why this is going to be close, because your defense is going to keep it close while the offense is figuring it out. And then eventually the wear and tear of this O-line is going to sort of be why you come out victorious. Let's squeeze in Carl in Maple Shade here. What's up, Carl?
Brodes.
What's up?
This is a callback call.
Okay.
3 weeks ago or more, after the Giants game,
Yeah.
I had called you and I said, Brodes, did you see what I saw? And you were like, what's that? I said, towards the end of the game, there was a few minutes left. They panned over to Jalen sitting on the bench, and I had said to you, I saw the eyes of 22.
Yes, I remember this, Carl.
And then you said to me, from your lips to the football god's ears, I hope you're right.
Yep.
And I continue to see that.
Well, I hope you're right.
I think this is Vic Fangio's night tonight.
I agree. I agree. Everyone's talking about Sean McVay versus Nick Sirianni, Carl. And while, of course, you always focus on the head coaches and that matchup, it is Vic Fangio versus Sean McVay. Sean McVay's this creative mind, the guru that everybody claims, and Vic Fangio's that man who's been in the trenches for 1,000 years with the talent that he's able to kind of play around with. I agree with you. I think this is a Vic Fangio type of game, and I believe in him. I think he's going to win that matchup.
Yep, and he's going to pretty much rise himself up to the top of the mountain as a defensive coordinator because he takes them down, and I'm just loving. I just can't wait for the Ravens. I don't want to jump the gun.
Yeah, we still got a game tonight, baby. Come on, Carl.
We still got a game tonight, but I'm not all that worried about it.
Wow. All right, let me ask you this, Carl, because you're a big Jalen guy. So, no Devontae Smith. What does that mean for the passing game? Is there any scare that the passing game that already struggles might struggle more because you're out number 6?
Well, let me first ask you this. Where is Britton Covey at?
He's here. He just got activated. He was on the IR.
He's back?
Yes, he's back. He was activated yesterday.
Okay, well, then that's where I go.
Wow.
He's tough, man. He's a scrappy little dude.
Carl, I love you, man. I appreciate the call. No Devontae Smith. You worried? We got Britton Covey. Oh, we are sick in the mind, and I love it.